Hi Aries, welcome to your tarot reading. If you're new, welcome in. If you're returning, welcome back. Either way, thank you so very much for being here and thank you for sharing your energy with me. I really do appreciate it. I'm going to pull a traditional Celtic cross spread. Whatever message comes out is what you need to hear. That's the intention I set with my deck and with my guides. So if this popped up on your feed, it's for you. And if you are here because of the title, which I don't even know what that is yet, then this message is absolutely for you. So be sure and like or leave a comment. Subscribe if you like the messages. It really does help my channel grow, and I really appreciate it. But it also pushes it out there for others to see as well. So thank you very much for that. Let's get into your tarot reading. Also, check out my website. I have tarot readings on there if you want a personal reading. And I also have like a lot of journaling and manifestation things to help with like spiritual awakening if you're interested in that. Interesting. Okay. We're going to get into it. So the bottom of the deck, we had the Four of Pentacles. This is about holding on to things and needing to let things go, right? Like this person is holding on to these pentacles. It's kind of trying to control a situation or holding on to resources, people, places, things too tightly and needing to release control, let go of things. It also has to do with your stability, right? Like you are trying to hold on to stability or thinking that something is stable and you're holding on to that and needing to let that go. The situation is the Hermit. So this is Virgo energy. Could be dealing with Virgo, don't have to be, but the Hermit is about that solitude, going within, really doing some soul searching and looking for answers, that internal knowledge, those internal messages, right? So you could have been in solitude for some time or kind of just withdrawn, right? If you're holding back with that Four of Pentacles and that Hermit, that is a very held back energy. Like maybe you're withholding emotions, maybe you're withholding resources, maybe you're just pulled back from everything going on, right? So the blockage here is the Seven of Swords. And the Seven of Swords can be about, deceit and lies and manipulation, but it can also be about strategy, right? Being strategic, needing to do things differently. Like if you're pulled back or you're withholding for some reason and you're not moving forward or you're not moving towards something that you want, it's time to do things differently, right? Coming out of that hermit mode, doing it differently. Instead of being pulled back, it is leaving a comfort zone, taking some kind of risk. The Two of Wands, this person is looking out of this tower, right, into all this land. Like the whole world is there in front of him. He just has to take a leap of faith and leave that tower. So I feel like this is you just needing to make some sort of decision to step out of a comfort zone and move forward. And, you don't have to just take a giant leap of faith. You can just take the next steps towards whatever this is that you want to move into. In the recent past, we have the Six of Swords. This is moving on from something, leaving something in the past. It's also about like a lesson, right? You've moved on from some sort of lesson. You've accepted that lesson and you're moving on. You could be traveled, or you could have traveled, like if this is recent past, you could have traveled somewhere, or you could have recently moved. This is my card for moving. Maybe you took a risk or a leap of faith and you moved. Your higher self or your subconscious, we have the Wheel of Fortune. So the Wheel of Fortune is about things starting to turn in your favor. This is karma, luck, but it's also things turning, that wheel of life, things starting to turn in your favor, but it's the divine timing, right? Like everything is happening when it needs to. Like if you have taken some sort of step out of a comfort zone and you've moved on, then that's going to turn this wheel, right? It gets things moving and rolling. It's also about like cycles. So you could be, moving into a new cycle in life, coming out of hermit mode and moving into a new cycle. In the near future, we have the Six of Wands. This is a victory. This is that recognition. So you could be getting recognized by people, being seen by others now that you've come out of hermit mode and you've kind of moved on from something here. And now you're going to have this victory and be seen. In your feelings, we have the Ace of Cups. This is a new emotional beginning for you. So you have moved on from something, being in solitude and withdrawn, and you have really opened up, right? So I always see the Ace of Cups. It is like this gift from the universe. They're handing you this new emotional beginning, but it's also about like your heart space, right? Opening your heart to new experiences, opening your heart to new things, your intuition, just opening up to life and experiences. And then you have that Wheel of Fortune, which is things turning in your favor, a new cycle. And then you have this new beginning here. In the environment, the influence here is the Queen of Swords. So you could be dealing with a Queen of Swords, which is an air sign, Gemini, Libra, Aquarius. You don't have to be, but this is, the Queen of Swords is very intellectual, very logical. She has her boundaries, right? But she's also really good about communication and speaking the truth. Like she's open to receive, but she has that sword up, right? She's going to cut things out that no longer serve her, and she's going to move on. And I feel like that's very much the energy that you are in. You have your heart open, but you also have your boundaries. You just need to do things differently this time, right? Being strategic. So your hopes and fears, we have the Moon. This is, trusting your intuition, but it's also about like these underlying fears, right? The subconscious fears that we have, that underlying fear. This could be things beneath the surface here, secrets. There could be secrets here. You could be fearing secrets from someone, but I feel like this is more of you needing to trust your intuition and also seeing things for the way they are, things coming to light. Maybe you're really hoping that things come to light here, that the truth comes out. The overall outcome, we have the Six of Pentacles. So the Six of Pentacles is equal give and take. It is balance. This person has the scales here in their hand. So this is about things balancing out, that reciprocity, right? That give and take energy. If you give to others, you're going to get what you give kind of energy. So I feel like maybe that's why things are turning in your favor here. This is also a gift, right? The Six of Pentacles is a gift. And then you have the Ace of Cups, which is Spirit handing you this new emotional beginning. So you could have some sort of gift coming in here. What does Aries not see coming, Spirit? Okay, so we have the King of Cups, the Death card, and the King of Swords. So you could be moving on from a King of Cups, Cancer, Pisces, Scorpio, and you could be moving into more of a King of Swords energy. Or you could be moving on with a King of Swords. So in the environment, we had the Queen of Swords. And then you have the King of Swords. So this could be about like a divine counterpart, or like some kind of divine partner here. Soulmate energy. It doesn't have to be love. It could just be, some kind of partnership. But there is like this ending, these deep emotions. You could have been dealing with a King of Swords and like these emotions have ended. Like we've transitioned, and then, you're kind of moving into this King of Swords energy, which is that logic, using your head over heart type of energy, being strategic. Again, with that Seven of Swords, being more logical, being more strategic rather than relying on the emotions. But it's also about balancing your head over heart, right? So again, with that Six of Pentacles, that balance. I feel like maybe you are transitioning from being in your feelings. Maybe that's why you were withdrawn. You were afraid of getting your feelings hurt again, and you're kind of transitioning out of that. It's good to have those feelings and have compassion, but I feel like that's where the balance needs to come in, balancing your head and heart and being logical about things. Being open, but, moving strategically. What is your advice for Aries, Spirit? The advice for Aries? So we have the Queen of Cups, King of Pentacles, and the Knight of Wands. I feel like this is about you needing to be more emotionally open, like trusting your intuition and your creativity, and also remaining grounded here. And, really have some compassion for yourself. And the Knight of Wands is about that, reigniting your spark for life, reigniting your spark for whatever this emotional new beginning is here, and really going after your passions and that having that drive, right? So the Knight of Wands is like that fiery, passionate energy. And then the Queen of Cups is emotions, compassion for yourself, compassion for others, but also having that deep intuition, those feelings. King of Pentacles is all about being grounded. Tap into that creative energy, but remain grounded while you do it and be passionate about what you're doing. But you do have the Queen of Cups, King of Cups, and then you have the King of Swords and Queen of Swords. So this could have something to do with masculine, feminine energy. Maybe it's internal. You need to balance your masculine and feminine energy. It's good to have that ambitious energy and go after things, taking that action. This is a very action-oriented card, but it's also good to be open to receiving with that feminine energy here. I feel like this is you kind of coming out of your shell here, kind of coming out. You had that Hermit card is, again, being very withdrawn. Four of Pentacles, withholding, being withdrawn from others. I think this is you opening up to more. And, things kind of playing out in divine timing here, because you did have that Wheel of Fortune. Really interesting. I really like this reading. Opening up that heart space. That's the balance, right? You want to open your heart, but you also want to be cautious and use your head. So I feel like that's where the balance needs to come in here. And that is masculine and feminine energy, right? That masculine goes after things and the feminine is all about receiving. So I feel like that's the message from Spirit. Like, remain open to the new possibilities and your emotions, but also use your logic in situations. Definitely time to come out of hermit mode and move on from things that no longer serve you, which I feel like you did take like a big step here. That Two of Wands, taking a risk, stepping out of your comfort zone. Maybe you moved somewhere completely new. But things are going to balance out, especially if you did move. I feel like this is a very victorious time. You had that Six of Wands there. So let's get a couple of oracle cards and see what else do you have for Aries, Spirit. So you have jump in. You're being asked to take a chance and give whatever you're questioning a try. The stars will never all align in just the right way. Sometimes you have to take that leap anyway. This is that time. Yeah, leaving that comfort zone, that Two of Wands energy, and being passionate, right? Taking action and, balancing your head over heart, but also being very passionate and taking charge here, using your logic to move things forward and go after your passions. Speak your truth. You've stayed silent long enough. Speak up, stand your ground, and state your perspectives. You will rise to a higher vibration when you let your voice be heard. Yeah, that Queen and King of Swords, definitely about speaking truth and communicating, speaking your truth. We have protect. You're being asked to protect yourself and your energy. It's okay to want to give to others, which you do effortlessly. It's important, though, that you set healthy boundaries with your energy before doing so. Now is the time to get some protection in place. Yeah, you have that Queen of Swords and the Six of Pentacles. Having your boundaries, but also, giving to others and making sure that you are receiving in return. You can't always give, but I just feel like this is you really needing to do things differently. Coming out of that hermit mode and making sure that you keep your boundaries and use your logic. And it's okay to give to others, but just, make sure that you are receiving as well. So I feel like this is just kind of a lesson for you closing out here that you're learning. But definitely victorious. Things are starting to turn in your favor here. So I hope that that message helped, and I will see you next time. Bye.